This is Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture from two very different perspectives with your hosts, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja, coming with all the relevant info about the week in pop culture. So, Mr. Benja, what are we covering today?
Today, my friend, we have 5 fire stories like we always do, and I had to say 5 because we almost had 4, but that's actually a part of the story. First of all, we got Trump getting arrested. Booyah, getting the mugshot up and everything. The internet is in flames, or at least they're talking like they're in flames. Not really too much flame going on in the internet. Second story, online influencers are growing as a force. They're people, just like me and you. They're not celebrities, but they're growing as a force. What's happening here? Why is this a thing? And why does it even matter? Don't we have enough celebrities? And for our third story, we're going to have an update on the WGA AFTRA strike. Things are happening and not happening at the same time. It's actually some pretty juicy information, so you got to make sure you check out that one. Also, Star Wars Ahsoka just landed, and this might be the coolest celebrity out right now, and she's not even real. Also, we have nothing. Our last story is going to be about nothing. Let's like Seinfeld. It's going to be the story about nothing because nothing really big is happening, and we're going to tell you why that matters. Theo, how does that sound?
Hey, man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, Mr. Benja, as we always do, I like to start with a story.
Little banter.
A little banter at the beginning. Uh, Man, you
Well,
remember
welcome back, by the way.
going back to school, just thinking about my week. You remember how we used to go back to school? Have you remember starting middle school and just the rush of just, oh, I got to go to a different class. I have a homeroom now. I have to go to my locker to pick all that stuff up. You remember that rush, that feeling you had when you first went to middle school, that change? And I had five different teachers instead of one. You remember that?
It was definitely weird. I remember thinking, man, because we had our list. I was like, man, we got to get the list of items, and they were like, for gym class, you got to have the shorts, you got to have, and I was like, oh, we're actually going to go in the gym and use the lockers and everything. And you saw all the upperclassmen because my middle school was connected to my high school, so
Mm.
they had the seniors and everything walking around, and I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot. But yeah, I totally remember that, man.
Man, being a parent of a kid that's going through that, it's a lot for the parents too, man. Because not only is you're trying to train your kid to just experience that, my oldest is just entering sixth grade now, and it just trying to help her navigate all that has been a lot for the parents. Now I see the other end of it, and I can see the stress that causes the parents because you're trying to teach them on how to remember all the different assignments, and they're
Uh,
they're missing papers now. They're not understanding. They have different teachers. They have to write down everything. So it's another level up that your kids have to mature, and they may or may not literally they're doing it in less than what she was literally in fifth grade like 2 months ago, right? So, and now she's in fifth grade, where this is a whole new format change. And it's been a lot, man. So I'm saying that we always start this like, how was your week? That's been my week, man. Just trying to navigate the maze that is sixth grade as a parent now.
I never thought about that level of growth that gave you as a child because I remember specifically having the thought, "Who's my teacher?"
Mm.
And the only answer I could get back was, "You have a homeroom teacher that you can go to, and they can answer your questions." And I don't know, did you have homeroom? You
Yeah,
don't know because
however, yeah, that was a universal thing. Just have
okay,
a
yeah,
homeroom teacher to
just
help
like
navigate this format.
yeah, 'cause I remember the homeroom class was I don't even know what it was. It was like a couple minutes just to sit around and not
Mhm.
do anything.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty fascinating school system that all of a sudden you have no teacher, you just have someone who helps you organize. That is something I never thought of. Wow, thanks for that one, Theo.
Yeah, it's just a whole new concept, new format, new theories, and just trying to train your child to do this in format. It becomes a lot more stressful on the parents because you're asking them questions and they don't know, right? They still figuring out. Did you have a test today? I don't know. Like, why is this grade? I'm looking at your report. It says C. Oh, I did have a quiz. Oh, jeez. And then navigate after school stuff too, right? So that was always there, but just this
Yeah,
added
yeah.
things. So that's been my week, just trying to navigate last couple of weeks actually, just trying to navigate the new normal for my sixth grader and just trying to figure all that out. So yeah, just more stress, man.
Did she have an extracurricular to pick?
Not
Or
yet, but she does dance after school, and so that's a couple hours almost every day. So that was there before in
oh,
5th grade, but wasn't as bad. She had
I
one teacher.
I guess I meant an elective.
Yeah, but it's just basic stuff right now, like music theory and things like art. But it's like a part of their process. It's not like after school
Okay.
program or anything like that. But yes, she does have electives.
Okay, because I remember band was actually a big thing.
Mm,
I was in band, and there was a whole, "Hey, if you're gonna get in band, you gotta make sure you got your uniform, your instrument needs to be checked, you're gonna need to have all" there was actually a fair amount of work to do
yeah,
band properly.
yeah,
So, I
yeah.
just remember that being like, when I
The
chose
one I
band,
was
my mom was happy, and my dad was like, "Ugh."
what? The one I was excited about was wood shop, right? You would
Okay.
actually have to I get to build a birdhouse. Like hell do I need a birdhouse for? But it's just exciting that you get to get some saws and you can make some stuff. And
Yeah.
I was so excited about that. I remember that distinctively being something I was really excited about. But I forgot what electives I took then. I don't think I took art. I think you had choices back when I took it, but art wasn't one of them. I remember that. But I think I did take bands as well. So that was
Yeah.
one thing I did think.
I took typing once.
Yeah, yeah, typing. I did that as well. Yeah. I don't think kids will take typing anymore. That's just one of those things you just don't do. Just you just know. You just know
Hey,
how to type now.
everybody's typing. I mean, get out of here with that.
Yeah, I remember you had these programs and learn how they do the how fast you type, try to get your speed up.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. But yeah, man. So that's been my week. What about yours?
This week, man, has been just putting together some web stuff, working on the CSL, the Creative Study Lounge, and that's been fun building up a new brand from nothing and getting into that mode of action again, configuring all my thoughts into notebooks, throwing out what works, putting in what doesn't work. So yeah, all the pieces are in place. We're looking to have a big Black Friday fall rollout. It's going to be proper. So you'll be hearing about it.
Yeah, man. I love it, man. Definitely keep me in the loop. Hopefully, I help you with the accountability piece and likewise with me. And we got some things brewing as well with Sensor Man, trying to brew some things up as well. But just interesting around this time, trying to figure out your brand. I have a thought about this. I said, I wrote this down. I was going to put this as a thread, Mr. Benja. I'm going to say, I just thought of it too recently. I said, marketing makes sales easier and branding makes marketing easier. And brand is everything you do.
All right.
And
There,
if you're
there's
a
there's
strong
there's
brand,
there's more to that. There's more to that. So
yeah, yeah,
we're
no,
gonna
the more I think about it, more and more,
no no it's good. I'm saying there's a little extra something that a little salt, a little ganache, something that needs to go on top of that. It's getting. I like it.
telling you, man, I'm learning more and more that this marketing thing. We'll talk about later what I saw this weekend at this big event. I think this marketing thing and branding thing is just this. That's it, man. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Product. Who cares?
Oh, real quick though, you asked how my week was. We're recording this on a day I didn't expect to record this. For those of you just watching, we had to postpone. This episode almost got canceled, but we persevere. Thank you, Theo, for pulling it through. But on our original one, yeah, man, I it's like they were saying that a new wave of COVID was going around and people are masking up again,
Oh,
and so some people were taking it seriously, some people weren't. But the thing is, it's like a weird variety of sicknesses were going around. Somebody had a sore throat and was sweating. I had something weird where I was, check this out, dehydrated and in my right eye. So I was tired. I wasn't connecting with things. Doctors always check out your tongue. I was like,
mhm.
my tongue doesn't look right. So I was like, what the hell?
Mm.
What is this? I'm like on WebMD and stuff, wondering if I should go in for something. My right eye, I said, felt dry and I couldn't see it. So I was like, what's going on? And then I started asking around. People were like, oh yeah, she had something, he had a little something, and everybody had a little something. And they're saying mask up again. And it wasn't like anybody was falling over, anything heavy, but it's just weird, really weird. And it's gone now. It like lasted not very long, but that's what happened Friday. And I was like, Alright, I totally boffed on the timing and all that, so it's weird how stuff just
Oh,
comes up and
yeah, man. Take care of yourself, man. Yeah, I was out for the count last Sunday myself, man. Had a little stomach bug. I was not doing too well for a couple of days myself, Sunday and Monday. So yeah, man. Yeah, you didn't know because we usually do our pod on Fridays or Saturdays, so it
mhm.
happened on Sunday. The Monday, yeah, we had done this on a Monday last. Yeah, I would have been out for the count. So definitely understand where you're coming from. And yeah, man, take care of yourself, man. Get that rubber testing. Get that testing in you.
Speaking of somebody who needs some tussin, story number 1. Your boy Trump got arrested, locked up, mugshots, he looking all angry. Theo, what's going on with the yellow-haired minister society?
Oh, this is so. Let's take a step back. Does this really mean anything? I don't got a mugshot.
I don't oh, it's I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly. I think it's just a marketing ploy. Legitimately, he is indicted for his issues that basically tries to the election and the things he did down in Georgia. So, look, I was there this weekend. I drove by the Fulton County jailhouse. They had it all blocked off, man. You would have thought, I mean, I heard it was just a madhouse down there, but when I went down there, it was like late at night. You could
Mhm.
tell they had blocked off streets. They used to have police presence there, even though it was long finished at that time.
Yeah.
And so it just was a fiasco, just a media fiasco. And yeah, look, I think on Monday they're gonna figure out if he really has to appear in court. But I think he did it purposely because he knew this would up his street cred, right? And so
Yes, good way of putting it.
and why not? And there was a Republican debate last weekend, and he didn't even show up, but he was there and he didn't have to. So
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's just marketing, branding 101, man. People are talking about you and thinking about you. You don't have to be there. So to me, I think he could absolutely still win the presidency, whether people know about that or not, or want that or not. I just think it's just,
Yeah.
if you're looking from a business standpoint, it's just brilliant branding and strategy because he's still top of mind even after going through all this mess. And he's probably the only one that could do that. His brand is so strong now that I don't think anything can happen to him. Because they can't, they just can't. They probably won't be able to keep him in jail during this whole process. And that's just, and I think everybody realizes that, but everybody's going through the motions as if they are.
But you know what? I have this piece that I wanted to do, like, actually study and break down and do, and I'm definitely going to add Trump to this because he was on the list anyway, but I really wanna do it now. It's my list of the I don't know how to put it, so I'm putting this together. Basically, it's the asshole marketing kind of angle, how we talk about how Twitter is nothing but negativity, and that's how it gets popular, and then at Facebook's height, it was fomenting all of this arguing and bad links going around, and that's what made it pop off, and we're seeing Threads not really pop off because they've been intentionally suppressing a lot of the negative news and all that on it. So I wanted to run through like a who do you have? Trump, Kanye West, just these Elon Musk, big, loud, for lack of a better term, asshole types that are just making noise. And I had a list of them somewhere, but anyway, yeah, I do think that's what's happening. How much of a news story? I don't know. How much of a marketing story? Definitely.
Yeah, definitely marketing story. Look at this. Trump raised 7.1 million for his political action committee or PAC after the mugshot. And then it's just hilarious, man. And then there's been rumors he's secured a lawyer that represented a lot of rap stars, right? Rappers back in the day. This is part of the Trump's legal team.
Mhm.
And I think this is part of that playbook, right? Build up public opinion about your street cred in the streets. And I'm sure that there's a certain segment of the Black culture community that respects that, right? You got mugshot, you real, you legit.
Yeah.
Forget your politics, forget what you believe, forget that you've been an asshole. As long as you got arrested, man, you be down with me. Yeah. I think it's just a ploy. It's just we don't really talk about politics too much, but it's just one of those things that just went everywhere. It went viral last weekend. And so I think we both wanted to just touch on it briefly, but I think it's one of those things, just a clear case of branding, marketing. We talk about that, that just really starting to take off for him. And it's probably one of those things where he's probably going to maybe win the presidency off of this mugshot.
Yeah, it's relevant. We don't have to spend much time on it, but it's definitely relevant.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, man, that's all I got on that one.
All right, me too. So we're gonna go to story number 2. Online influencers are growing, and not just like Trump, but like everybody. I don't know if you've heard of names like, where do we start? We talked about them before. Alex Hormozi, what's her name? Yuta, Greg Cardone. Those are some of the guru types, but we talked about Cenat last week. We talked about, what's that other kid's name? Aiden Ross. They're just, and these kids, these people, these influencers, they're just people. Get online, put a camera in front of them, they talk noise, and they get thousands of millions of people talking about them, which would be billions. But collectively, yeah, billions of eyeballs are flowing through these people's accounts. They're here today, they're gone today, but they're still part of this new machine. It's crazy. And Theo, you have some firsthand experience because you went to Invest Fest and got to see some action going on. What's happening with the influencers?
Yeah, yeah, man. So I did get a chance to go down to Invest Fest in Atlanta this past weekend. So those who don't know, it was created by Earn Your Leisure podcast that started late 2018 or something. With two guys out in New York, regular dudes. Matter of fact, I think that you and I were impressed with it. They started on Anchor of all things from their podcast and blew it up about financial education freedom from a hip hop set, right? I think they took their spiritual following from Nipsey Russell
Hustle.
and the rapper Hustle, excuse me. Did I say Nipsey Russell? Nipsey Hussle, the late great rapper who always talked about investing and doing things in the community. And so they took that same kind of concept and just sprinkled the hip hop around it. And these two brothers, man, they just took it to the next level, man. They got with the right folks at the right time. And so they got connected to celebrities, and then they help build other people's brand. They have a whole ecosystem of other folks like MG the Mortgage guy and Ian the stock guy and all these other guys that are kind of part of the ecosystem. They got with the celebrities like Steve Harvey, right? And Maverick Carter, and all these folks, and Diddy showed up at the last conference. And so I've heard about this. I said, I want to get a different take on, I'm an entrepreneur, but I deal in my little lane with healthcare technology, maybe traditional path. I kind of see what this path was, right? And so I went to Invest Fest. Man, you would thought it was a concert, man. I was like, this thing is huge. It was at the Georgia War Congress Center.
Okay.
They had booked up 20,000 people sitting around, man. And you thought it was a concert, man. They were just people on stage just talking about investing, about building wealth. And I was fascinated, man. But you thought you saw all kinds of people dressed in suits, people, girls dressed in whatever. You thought it was at a concert. People do. It was just like amazing. Then we went to the marketplace, and you just walk down the aisles, and I was just talking with entrepreneurs, and everybody's got to hustle, man. You could talk about some person's a book, traditional stuff, brands like a hat brand or t-shirt brand. Literally, I found a guy that was selling stuff down the street from me, literally down the street from me. I see him every day on the corner selling t-shirts. Shout
Yeah.
out to Lorenzo at New Plug. Saw him at freaking, saw him at freaking Invest Fest. I was like, dude, I see you every day, man. And he was at Invest Fest, man. I was like, dude, this is what else you guys? That's all I got right now. I'm blowing up. I said, man, kudos to you. So anyway, what I did was I didn't have a booth. I didn't really have an angle per se, but what I did was I interviewed folks like in a style of, hey, tell me about what you do as entrepreneurs. So I did I had a videographer. So now I'm going to share that with them, and hopefully we can do some collabs and stuff. So I met a lot of folks
Yeah.
from in my space, the healthcare CEO, and then Nurse Alice. But I met some interesting folks from Derrick Shands, the morning stand up, or what's it called? Forgot the name of his podcast, but David Sands, he does a podcast, big podcast. He
Oh,
interviews
yeah.
everybody. Yeah,
Social proof.
social proof. Thank you. And so, yeah, I interviewed some of his people, and I interviewed people. Remember, we talked about the Black Bread Company. So I found the Black companies. One was the Black Coffee, and I saw the black condom company.
Yeah.
I got the both of them.
You get some you get
So
some coffee, condoms, and bread, alright.
all black, man, all black all the time. But yeah, man, so it's just like the next level that remember how local we had those little swap meets or little in the hood, little areas of where people, the vendors would sell little things. It's just like that next level up, and it's just more of a bigger level. And I was impressed by it, man. This is something they built. So anyway, so to me, I thought it was inspiring to see how this germinated from just a podcast and built this whole community of folks connecting on another level. And of course, you got real estate agents, investors, the traditional stuff, people selling courses, art, all kinds of stuff, man. And it was just pretty inspiring. But yeah, it was on the back of influencers, though, man. Most of these folks were, regular folks making money in their own little spheres. And he just took it to the next level by having a platform on social media. And now they have their own brand that following 100,000 followers. And now they're making consistent revenue because they have a path to generate, and having events like this helps. So yeah, so I thought it was very impressive, man. Yeah. So like I said, you'll see some of my stuff at the real Deal Harvey, some of my other experiences on my other platforms.
Yeah.
But I tell you, man, it's very interesting.
It's funny, if anybody was going to be ready for the influencer season, it's gonna be some black people. You wanna know what's hot in the streets, you go get it,
Good
and
point.
I don't care what avenue you go to, you're talking about, like, the Deion Sanders. I don't know anybody who's made any noise in the chip space except Master P coming in with Rap Snacks. It's
Yeah.
sounds
They
kind
were there. They were
yes,
there.
it sounds corny, but if you're just gonna do a chip that doesn't have some that's not sourced from soybeans or something, or have some kind of cultural thing like that, then it's no, we just have a chip, and it's got wrappers on the packages. They're Rap Snacks. They're delicious. Get in here, son. So with all these new ways of influencing coming in, and don't let us even get talking to the video game space and the TikTok space and all that, Twitch
Yeah.
space. That's when we talked about that last time with Kai Cenat and Pinky Doll. As I said, we have characters, and that respectfully, we have characters that are far beyond what anybody else is doing. It's amazing and it's fun, but, you gotta watch these people a little bit, and now we have pocket watchers out there. Keep them safe. And you put me on JT the pocket
Yeah.
watcher and had me laughing, but,
Oh, you watched some of his stuff? Did you watch some of his stuff?
yeah, I like seeing what the pocket watchers, and that's what I'm gonna call them all now. I used to call them I used to have a different name for them. What were they called? Not the
Um,
doubters, not the
the
haters.
haters?
No, no, but there were people who would watch out, like CoffeeZilla is another
Mhm.
big one.
Yeah, he's a little bit corny with it, but he's like very detailed and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
I
mean,
see his stuff.
you gotta keep these people on their toes because there's I call it being scamalicious. Is it really a
Mhm.
scam or are they just scamalicious? Because there are like Ty Lopez did a Black Friday sale. I usually get most of this stuff on sale so I can see what they're like and what they're about and what
Yeah.
I should
Yeah.
and shouldn't get from them. But Ty Lopez had this sale. So was $10,000. Now it's $49 for the next hour. And I'm like,
And you know what? You're not wrong. They go way down describe this man amazingly. It's worth $3,000. I'm only gonna give you the 49.99.
yeah,
Frank Kern is notorious for that. I get his emails all the time.
yeah. Yeah, it's, "Hey, just pay $4." It's before you click to pay the $4, you could pay $400, but let me tell you why. It's okay. But yeah, it gives you an angle on what they're doing, what they're getting into. And in my looking at these things, you gotta keep checking on these people. So we may have to do another update if online influence is growing. We have to do another update on like the scam level, what to look out for, where to spend money, where not to, and understand what you're getting into. Because
Yeah, I would caution everybody. People just so hungry for something to help them grow some tidbit. The vast majority of folks probably sell courses. Sure. You get what you get out of those courses. Some of them have masterminds or they work with you to build something great. And that could be worthwhile if it's legitimately, are they really helping you with something? But I agree, man. I think, and it's just good. I like to have balance in the force. So I
oh
want to
yeah,
get a sense of, yes, this is so hype. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But is it though? And JT, he goes in there and talks to himself. But I was listening to what's the guy's name? He's the guru that everybody talks about. He came up with the whole leverage in your time. He was talking Ravikant. I don't know if you heard of him. He does A lot of people
Oh,
quote him
Naval.
about, thank you, Naval.
Naval Ravikant.
And yeah, he talked about this. He said there's two types of, things, games you can play. You can play the wealth game or you can play the status game. And the people who criticize the people who are always telling you how to make money and all this stuff, they're playing that status game. So, and that's like always, that's a zero sum game, right? Because they're trying to make themselves look better, believe me, versus them. And so sometimes there's that sense of, if you get stuck in that world, that kind of pettiness and the hatefulness, you're not going to play the real game, which is wealth, which is, there's no zero sum game to that, right? You can always create wealth. I try not to get stuck in. I just want to get enough picture, but then you can go down a rat hole and think everybody's a scam, and you get stuck in this pettiness where you never get out
Yeah.
and want to grow
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, exactly.
No, anyway, so I agree though. Thanks for bringing that up, the pocket watchers. But I did want to say one thing. Everybody I talked to, man, I did about 15 interviews with different folks, from social media to books to the family. They were building a family brand. They had the whole motif, like 1800s. They were dressed up in like classical outfits as a black family.
Oh,
And
geez.
that was their brand. Yeah, it was like, so I'm excited to see how these videos turn out and how my interviews do and see if I can get some play off of that.
Yeah.
Because everybody had like different take, and I asked them like the same three questions. I was like, if someone's going to build a brand in 2023, what three things would you do? And they boom, boom. I got the guy who created watches. And so I think it's going to be some big content I put out there to
That
get a perspective on what the state of entrepreneurship is now. And that's going to be my series I'm going to launch here in a short little while on social media. But one thing, and then I'll let this go. One thing that kind of made me think about this was the Alex Hormozi event that happened last weekend.
yeah.
I think you and I attended. So yeah, Alex Hormozi, he's just one of these guys that blew up out of nowhere, but he was working underground for like years building his gym brand, right?
Mhm.
And now he's become this big guru when it comes to like business development. And the guy, he's just very clear about like he's very thorough on how he explains things. And the fact that I think the people gravitate to him is number one, he knows his stuff, right? Because the way he talks about it, he's very thorough and deep thinker, but he offers it for free, his education for free, because his game is not trying to get you a course from you or some kind of, he's playing that long game where he's going to put equity into you and buy your company. And so it's a different angle. So he can play a longer game than a lot of these other gurus. And so I think that's why he's be able to build his brand a lot faster. And so he just had a
Yeah.
big event. He launched his new book. And he said he had 500,000 people show up and this and that. And you buy this book, you're going to get the acquisition.com pack and all this other stuff. I was just like, dude, this dude, he doesn't come off as like that. I never see him be on that level, right? He's just always been, I remember his videos where he's just sitting with a little whiteboard, just talking about, here's the rules of how you do this. Now he's got this billboard of all these faces behind him and doing this big presentation. I was like, that's what you do, man. You level up. And it's good for him.
Yeah, I haven't seen a book launch like that in a while, so that was pretty phenomenal, actually. Yeah, shout out to him. We'll watch his pockets too.
Like I said, but he's playing a different game, man. That's the thing. And so Gary V, right? Gary V don't make his money off his videos and stuff. He's making it off B2B sales, right? But he's building a brand presence for just helping people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the smart way to play this game, right? Yeah, if you just if you make your money from the equity side or business side, but you're just building this influence of folks that, and then you leverage that some kind of way with either through book sales or
Yep.
maybe buying their business or if you're like Gary V, because he says, I know what people want, I can help you advertise to them because I talk to them all the time. I think that may be a better business model than trying to sell courses to people all the time. Because I think that's gonna get old.
Yeah. And Gary Vee, I rock with him, and I get a lot of hate from my engineering and computer science type friends who are like, "Gary Vee, F that guy." And I'm like, he's got a game going on. You should actually check him out." He surprised me when he made that twist. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, I've been working to play to get into doing Super Bowl commercials in a big way. And part of doing Super Bowl commercials is to get closer to his dream of owning the Jets." Yeah, he's definitely got a play going on that's not the Planters campaign. Planters Peanuts, I don't know, the Mr. Peanut character died. There was a whole story behind it and everything. Yeah, that's just really interesting stuff. And yeah, that's totally the play.
Yeah. So more to come on that, man. But yeah, loving it. love these influencers, and hopefully we're both trying to do a little bit on our own, right? And build up our influence. So I'm just learning from the best.
Yeah. Oh, and I just registered for Trump Social. We were talking about influencers. So I got on Trump Social. Dude, this is comedy. It's it's just comedy in general. His only crime, he loves his country too much.
Give me
I will vote for him no matter what. Says Lynn 47. She's a Trump supporting cooker. She supports food and truth.
love
This is
it.
interesting. I'm sorry. I jump on these networks to see what other people are talking about.
Man, we live in a world, we talk about this all the time, but I've seen it more and more, man. People, they get obsessed with you, right? You have so much content or and video content that people just eat it up, that they just, whatever you say, whatever you do, they're gonna believe it, man. You see it again. I've seen it in the Christian world where I talked about that. Christian influencers are big now. You look at these people, they get 100,000 views. Myron Golden, like the Bible teacher, he gets 100,000 views. We talked about Hormozi. It's just, doesn't matter what field you're in, man. It doesn't matter now. It's just, you just have the influencers,
All
and
right.
then you make the money.
All right. So we're gonna continue with this because this is always a story, and we're going a little bit long on this one. But we're going to set up, maybe do this yearly. I don't know. The online influencer bracket.
Yeah, I love it.
We'll do a tournament, tournament
Write that
style.
down. We can do
See
it.
who
We
comes
can
out
do
on
it.
top.
Do it. We can do it.
You bring your top dudes. I bring my top dudes, and we'll see how it all shakes
Oh,
out.
we know it's gonna be there. Derrick Grace, we know that's
Hey,
gonna be your number one. It's gonna be your number
what
one seed.
what's funny? Dude, I posted a picture of him, and people were like, "Dude, you mess with this dude?" And they in the DMs, like, no one actually commented, but I got a couple DMs, and people were like, "You messing with this dude? I don't know, he's scamming." I'm like, "Wow." The whole reason I got with him because he does organic marketing and this kinda underground guerrilla style shock
Ace.
value, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Wow." Just showing his face did what I hoped it would do
Get that.
according to his teaching. I'm not worried about learning financial literacy from Derrick Grace, but his whole vibe just, and I'm like, "This guy." And yeah, he actually did have a $5 sale one day. You're talking about going from thousands to $5. He did that for a day, and the next day, it was back to normal prices, and he was reading off people's DMs and messages, and they were like, "Nah, man, I got in on time." And he goes, "See, this dumbass right here don't know how to do time zones properly." He came in, and it was past the time on the time zone. "Look, man, I'm over here in the East Coast. You gotta get with it. Time already passed for you. You too slow." And I'm just like, this guy is using everybody's comments and everything as content, and just, it was, never mind.
I love it.
You get
I
the
love
point.
it. Nah, I get it. That's perfect. I love it.
Alright, speaking of being online and influencing people, we got a strike update, and that's gonna be story number 3. The strike update is here, and it's happening, and Theo's got all the good news for you. What's happening?
Ain't no good news. We're
Oh, I'm
still
sorry.
striking, baby. We're
All the
still
bad news.
striking, but
My
nah,
bad.
man, it's not good out there, man. TV met to talk about something, and I think this is the big one where they had Ted Sarandos from Netflix, and had Bob Iger, they had David Zaslav from WB, Bob Iger from Disney. They had all the big guys in the room, and they came up with, "Hey, we got a proposal. We're gonna put some guidelines around AI, have some minimum people in the staffing room." So basically, three big things that I guess they want, the writers want. They want to be able to ensure they know if their movies or TV shows are a success. So they want some kind of rating system. They want to put limits on AI, artificial intelligence. So they're not going to be issues with that later on, firing them because they can use AI. And they want some staffing kind of things set up so that they can bring on people, and they can have a writer's staff that people can grow into roles in writing. And I think all three of those things were addressed initially by the AMTP, but of course it was not enough for WGA. And so they pushed back on all the initial kind of proposals by the studios. But I think it's just all ploy, negotiation ploy, to see if they can get closer to the middle. But I think they're getting closer than we think. And so they said no, that was like last week. They'll probably sometime this week, but because they're up against the timeline too, right? So the studio's up against the timeline where don't know if you saw a lot of these movies are getting pushed back. Dune was supposed to come out in December, part two, getting pushed to March now. A lot of other studios movies are getting pushed from the fall to spring. And they're going to get to a point, if they don't make it soon by October, they're going to push some of the summer movies, right? Because some of those
Yeah.
movies, like we already saw, let's see, Deadpool 3 got pushed back, right? Because they haven't even started that yet. They can't mess up that summer money. That summer guap, man. That's gonna make the net, man. Gonna make their money. So studios are trying to figure out how they can make it work. And let's be honest, these writers and these actors, man, they ain't making enough. So they're hurting pretty bad. So
Yeah.
they're probably itching to get back. So I do predict that we'll probably see some movement here in the next 2 months and probably by September. But it's still, we talked about this. Is this hurting Hollywood in general? Because the people even care about movies as much anymore, right? When we have the influencers now that taking our attention or TikTok, things like that. So I don't know, Mr. Benja. I know someone is a little bit more removed from this. What do you think from the artist side? Is this something they can win when it comes to these strikes and things like that?
Can they win? I
What does that mean? Yeah,
I
what does that
think
mean?
they're I think honestly, I think they're fighting a noble fight. I back them and support them, but I don't think that they're it's like going to a battle and we want you guys to fight fair. And they say, "Oh, you want these terms for the fight?" Okay. And then you get there and they've changed all the conditions around the situation. So the situation isn't even the same anymore. You're like, we gave you everything you wanted. So yeah, but you changed the now it's like this and now we can now we can use weapons that you have, but all of a sudden we can't do things this way. And basically what I'm saying is while this is happening, I'm watching the AI space change. I'm I'm hearing about different companies. Like there's a company, Blizzard, Activision Blizzard is actively
Mhm.
using AI within the company to build out new worlds and characters. And the way they're framing it is as, "Hey, look, isn't this cool? What if we did this?" And they're sharing it with the consumer. So between the consumer and the developer, it's like this co-creation thing. And what you've effectively done is like, okay, they're the workers, but what if I used AI, just talk to the people directly, and we started making this community project, and the workers are getting pushed out slowly but surely. And I don't think anybody is expecting that.
Mm.
It's like reality TV kind of did. We're trained actors and we got okay. Yes, you're correct. Reality TV squad, come in, please. Okay, we're just going to use them. The system's going to find a way to be the system. That's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
I don't think their fight is necessarily the I don't want to say the smartest one, but yeah, that's what I mean. The smartest one. I don't think it's the smartest type of fight because ultimately the system's going to do what the system's going to do. And I don't think they're keeping that in mind enough. And they want things to be fair, but in this fight, you're just adjusting the entire landscape and it's not going to play out for you as well as you think it will. So I don't know. What's the play they should do? You got to do something. But just saying, "Hey, this isn't fair. We don't like this." That's just gonna cause the machine to plug in its siphons somewhere else.
You got to think it's a money thing, right? So the AI issue probably cuts into the studio's costs, right? Because if they can hire AI to write some script that costs that it goes that below the cost of a writer to build that studio. If they can keep writing staff small for these shows, then that's going to help them with their costs as well. But the big thing I think the studios are pushing against, especially streaming content, is that the ratings because and that's what messed up everything. And now the people we talked about this, the women from Orange is the New Black, right? He talked about the residuals they got from a hit TV show. No one knows how well that show did, and so they can't
Yeah.
benchmark it to some kind of success metric to pay these actors right. And so I think that's the big thing that I think the studios are pushing against because if they open that kimono, they're gonna say, "Look at all this money. Look at this bag of gold." And you just didn't pay us. And so this why you think Netflix kind of came up with their own rating. Oh, here's the top 10 list. The heck does that mean? They did that just to get a peek. And then now you also got these third party services like Nielsen and other folks coming in trying to predict what the success metric is. But they really truly give us a success metric around this, and you're definitely gonna see this whole model change. So I
Yeah.
think that's the thing they're really pushing against, in my opinion. But I agree, you can't push against technology and progress, and so the actors and the writers need to be a little bit smarter. And one
It
thing I think they should do, and I'll let you, Scott Galloway probably talked about this. They should probably put limitations on their use of against AI systems taking their likeness, work, images, and things like that, and sue any AI system that takes it from them, and put some thoughts around how to set that up, because I think that's going to be the battle on taking people's art, images, likeness,
mm,
all that kind of stuff to pump into these AI systems to emulate.
yeah, and we come from technology, so we understand that side of things, and being around enough of these actors and Hollywood events and just associated kind of characters in the scene, they don't know what's happening. It's not their wheelhouse. One rule I would say to any of these human spirit activists, real people types, because I'm a technology type, I'm actually a robot, don't worry about that. I would just say in any fight against technology, chances are you will lose. You work with it, not against it. It's just not the best idea to go up against technology. So that's all I got to say on that.
No, I love it, man.
All right. Story number 4. Star Wars Ahsoka is here. And I'm actually going to give you a little heat for this one because you sent me a text saying, "Hey man, Rebels is actually really good." Unbelievable.
Oh man, this is just so hard, man. So let's talk about this Ahsoka, man. This character, man, just popped during the animated Clone Wars, the animated series, right? And so it popped so much that now she has her own live action show. This is the original character from the minor Dave Filoni, right? Who's the architect of Star Wars now. But then I got wind that you had to know Rebels. And I was pissed at first. I'm like, man, I got to do some damn homework to watch a Star Wars movie. So I got a little pissy about that. But I buckled down. I found one of those little guides that say, watch these shows in these order and all that stuff. And I started getting to the story of it. I said, man, this is better show than I thought. Because I was not a fan of Clone Wars. I think I made that known a couple times on this podcast. And I get what they were doing with it. I just didn't like the animation. I just didn't like the retread of the Clone Wars. Attack of the Clones, the second in the
Yeah.
prequel series. So it was just like a retread to me anyway. The Clone Wars was. But then Rebels was cool because they were getting the lead up to what was going to happen. And they brought back a lot of legacy characters. So make a long story short, man, let's talk about Ahsoka reactions real quick. Do you think this will be a series that I don't think it's ready for, it's not for the mainstream, but does that even matter anymore? That's my hot take right now. Is this where Mandalorian was more accessible, let's be honest, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
this is
Anybody can
probably
jump
one
into
of
the
the,
Mandalorian.
yeah. And what was the other one they did? Did they do another one? Oh, no, it was all Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, Book of Boba
Is this the
Fett, if we
second
could
season?
count that.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett was Mandalorian, let's be honest. But this the first kind of one where they're going deep. Star Wars soundtrack. I mean, you gotta be nerdy nerd. Doing this stuff, man. It was, oh wow, I didn't know a lot of this stuff until, and you hinting at it. I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But now some of it's cool. I ain't gonna lie, some of it's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is a lot though, man. This is like literally pulling out books and doing a research paper
Yeah,
on.
once you start getting into the weird side of the Force, people flipped out when they saw the owl happening in earlier on when she got introduced. Yeah, I don't if you're wondering why the font is the way it is on the word Ahsoka, that's coming from old I wanna say I'll say glyphs, not hieroglyphs. Old ancient Jedi glyphs, and that's written into her name. But then there's this whole Jedi, not a Jedi thing. Yes, there's a lot of history there. I'm glad that they did it. I think it's actually a good thing that it isn't mainstream. I think they need to re-bolster the fan talk, the underground talk, strengthen the base a little bit. If this was like Truth Social, it'd be like Lucas Social, the Star Wars Social. You want to get in there and get those real hardcore people talking again and not necessarily having to worry about the mainstream, the Disney side of things. So I'm glad it's doing what it's doing. I actually haven't jumped into it too much myself. I know some of the overall story things, and I did watch Rebels and all that leading up to it, but I haven't jumped into Ahsoka just yet. I'm getting not I'm not getting bad vibes from it, but I'm getting like people are like, "Oh, okay, we're going deep now. This is cool. I'm in for it." So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. When you got time traveling, spacefaring whales in Star Wars, man, the purple.
Yeah.
You
No
know you're the
no
deep end, bro.
yeah, no spoilers, but if you didn't know, in Star Wars, there exist time and space traveling whales. This is just an example. And I don't know if you've seen the memes, if you haven't watched it, if you've seen the memes of, "I didn't watch Rebels and I don't know what the hell is going on." That's
Okay, I gotta watch
that's
that.
true.
Yeah. That was me. That was me. They don't give you any
Wait, you
warning. They go straight into it.
started into it, and then you're like, "Wait, I
No,
gotta go
no,
watch
no, no.
Rebels," or what happened?
No, I heard enough. Because what happened was I knew it was coming. I saw some things. I was like, yeah, I gotta start watching it. Then shout out Chris Jensen. He texted me, "Oh man, I didn't know they're gonna bring back." I said, Chris, stop. I ain't see none of that. So I had to go find one of those details. Season one, watch these episodes. Season two, watch season. Then I knew enough to get into Ahsoka. Then I went back and started watching some other ones. But like I said, there were some really good ones, like the whole, big main character in Rebels is Ezra Bridger. And
Mhm.
his story arc I thought was pretty interesting. And so what they did with it. And so and just you're right, man. Dave Filoni is really expanding. So two things he's doing. Number one, he's creating his own kind of mythos, right? And trying to make sense of everything, trying to make it all line up together. When did the Empire start from Clone Wars? And then how did we get the First Order and the Resistance? So he's trying to get those needles, right? But he's
Yes.
also going back in because you remember before Lucasfilm sold to Disney, they had all this Star Wars stuff out there. Remember, they
Mhm.
had this and that. And they remember when they brought it, they said, okay, all that stuff, that's just legends. It's
Yeah.
not canon, it's just legends. But he did that on purpose because now he can pick and choose stuff from the legends and slowly put it back in the way
Yes.
he wants it. Grand Admiral Thrawn taking a piece of this. And I remember Thrawn because I read that first trilogy. It was
Heir to
called
the
Heir
Empire.
to the Empire, 1991. And that was like basically after the Battle of Endor. That was like the first Star Wars books ever. And I was so excited about it. And they introduced him as like the top admiral. He was an alien crease species, super intelligent, and he was going to be the new enemy against Luke, Leia, and Han. And I love those series, but they threw it away, whatever. But they brought him back, and I think he's an excellent villain for Star Wars. But anyway, so that's what they're doing, man. And then I think Legends of the Old Republic, they're gonna bring some of that stuff back. And then they're trying to expand what it means to be the Force. And I think I dig that, man. It's not just Jedi and Sith because it
Well,
can't
yeah,
be. It has
it's
to be bigger.
weird. It's like this is stuff that we knew. Like, we knew there were other Force sensitives. We saw, like, the Sith going around, like, killing off people who were trying to use the Force and dark side of the Force and call themselves on the level, and we knew these people existed, and we knew, like, with the Bendu or whatever, there was good sides of the Force that just floated around, but they weren't Jedi. So we knew all this, but what was interesting is how the story developed over time in the audience's mind, where I'd be sitting down talking and somebody would jump up in the comments in all caps, "Dude, you don't have to be a Skywalker to have the Force. Why can't they change that?" And I'm like, "Nobody ever said that. What are you talking about? Obi-Wan Kenobi's good with the Force. You said the Skywalkers were the only one who had the Force. What are you talking about?" And but it's the narrative that gets told in the public consciousness. Having to and this is an interesting storytelling method where you've said something, it's supposedly fact, but people in the way they're telling the story in their head have a completely different perception of it. And I'm sitting here like, Obi-Wan has the Force. He's not a Skywalker. Why is this an argument? And then dude keeps on going in the comments, dude, it's all about Skywalker. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way. And so to your point, I really like what he's doing, showing more sides of it. And the more you show, the more the understanding is there and the more the public narrative pushes along and makes a ton of money for Disney.
Yeah, it brings more nuance to the Force, right? Now they people who they can be Force wielders, but they don't have to be Sith. And even Sith, there's layers of Siths, right? And there's
Yeah.
layers of Jedi.
Sisters of the Dathomir.
Yeah, they're kind of doing their own thing, and then you got Ahsoka who tells you with very, very emphatically and she is no Jedi, right? So there you go. And the Mandalore, they got their own kind of version of a Jedi. Used to be a Jedi with their dark sabers. So yeah, it's been they're trying to put all these different layers to it and try to expand upon the mythos. And so yeah, I'm there for it. But like I said, I don't know how accessible it is to like the simple story of Luke Skywalker and his family and his redemption of the dad. It is getting more complicated, and which I think it has to, number one, but is it going to be still popular as it has been? So I don't know.
No,
But you know
I
what?
don't know.
It's something
I
interesting.
I think you need a complicated base to make a simplified face, and I just
Mhm.
came up with it. So, whatever.
Right
Alright,
there.
we good on this one?
Yeah, real quick. First impression so far, okay. We'll see how it goes, but maybe we'll check back in mid or end of the program.
8
We'll see.
episodes, I
8
think?
episodes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Every
alright.
week.
We'll come back after episode 8 is done, and we'll have a talk on that, so look for that one. Finally, we got story number 5. This isn't much of a story, but we gotta have a little discussion. Is there a next big thing? Are we just talking about nothing now? Since pre-pandemic even, there's been nothing but story after story of, "Oh my god, this is happening. Oh my god, this is happening. Oh my god." And there's always some big, "Oh my god, this is happening." And people are very anxious and on edge about this whole discussion. NFTs and cryptos, the whole Hollywood hero movie thing. Is it dying? Streaming movies, are they killing things? What's going on with every app being Uberfied? The Airbnbs, the Ubers, the this and that. There's always some big story that catches all of our attention collectively. And oh, of course, AI, one of the most recent ones. And now it just seems like things are chilling out. Is something coming? Is this the quiet before the storm? What's happening, Theo?
Not a damn thing.
All right. All right.
We keep this story short. Man, you're right, man. AI was hot in December of last year, but it's like anything, any technology is going to take time to adapt and adjust it, and people realize how it can really work. It's working its way to things. But yeah, man, NFTs was hot, crypto was hot. We're just in this weird space where there's just, I don't think there's anything new. We're seeing Marvel was doing something new and interesting in movies, but that's dying out now. The only thing we saw that was interesting and new in entertainment really was like seeing Barbie, a, a movie about
Yeah.
a toy, make $1 billion. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. It's like, it's weird. It's hard. We're talking about these influencers, but they're all niche. So it's like, I follow influencers. You probably never know who they are, right? They're like in their own little bucket. So there's
Hmm.
nothing just popping up. Maybe we're just in a culture now where there's just no monolithic thing that's going to attract everybody. And that's why it doesn't feel like there's anything new coming in.
Like Kanye West and Beyonce haven't released anything lately, not even on their side. It's weird. It's like for the past couple of years, especially around the holiday time, it seems like there's always been something to talk about. Even the elections aren't terribly exciting. It's just, all right, you got dudes talking their thing again. I don't know. I'm actually good with this. It's weirding me out, but it's, hey, you know what? I'm going to walk around the house in my flip flops and robe and just sip some tea and be good with nothing happening.
I love it. I love it, Mr. Benjamin. Man, I think we're going to close it out, man. This has been a great pod as usual. Mr. Benjamin, anything going on high level for you this week?
Nah, man, the Creative Study Lounge is just what's happening right now.
All right. Go check out The Real Theo Harvey. I got some stuff coming out from InvestFest, some good interviews. So I'm excited about that series that we're going to launch here. But hey, everyone, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Go check us out. Website at Show versus Business. Definitely, Mr. Benja. Have a good one, man.
Peace.